Hi everybody, I'm here reporting on a great win in the Scottish Cup last night at Easter Road. Rangers winning 2-0. After the Motherwell defeat last week, I said I hoped I'd be on here today to report on two positive results. And indeed, that's exactly what I'm doing. The great draw in Lisbon on Thursday, followed by this Scottish Cup win. A game made harder by the fact that we had such a tough game in Lisbon. So well done to the guys for keeping going. The manager started with the same team, so these players deserve a lot of credit for all the efforts they put in on Thursday to actually have a comfortable win against a Hibs side, which should have been a more dangerous opponent maybe than they turned out to be last night. I must explain first of all my title when I said Rangers beat Hibs 9 men by using 10 men. We were down to 10 men right from the beginning because, as I've said before, Drossers is like playing without a centre forward. You could take him out of that team and the game would just proceed as normal. He wouldn't make any difference, his absence. In fact, in the first 20 minutes before we actually scored, he missed two great chances. One, he prodded it past the post, didn't even get it on target. I think that was in about 10 minutes. And then I think about 20 minutes, he actually did well to dispossess the guy out in the left wing. And he's done this before. He cuts in, gets into the box, only the goalkeeper to beat, and if he hits it with his right foot it goes into the far corner and we're 1-0 up. But no, he does his trademark check to the left and get it onto his left foot, and then of course he just hits it off the goalkeeper's chest and it goes away to safety. I said trademark move. He's done that I don't know how many times, and that's what happens every time bar one. The only time it worked was in Seville when it actually went through the goalkeeper's legs, more by good luck than skill. So every time he tries that, practically it never works. He's just absolutely hopeless. And in fact, near the end of the first half, Diomande did a great shot from about 20 odd yards out. It comes into the box. Drossers loses his marker. He's onside, loses his marker. All he has to do is get a touch on it, any kind of touch from about 5-6 yards out, and it's in the net. But he deliberately lets it go behind him, and then when he looks, it's whizzed past the post. It's not in the net. Any striker will tell you, you actually hit the ball. You don't hope it's going to go in because somebody else has hit it. You try and divert it by any means possible. But no, he thinks he's being so clever letting it go, and it goes obviously past the post for a by kick. So there's three chances in the first half. Absolutely rubbish he is. It took, I don't know, about an hour before we got rid of him and brought on a substitute. So anyhow, that's why we were playing with 10 men. I'll get to why Hibs were down to 9 later in this description. I saw in this game, I think three things maybe. We'll get to them in due course, but three things I'd never seen happen in a Rangers game before, from my memory. And one of them was a bad mistake by Super Jack Butland. That was their best chance to actually score in the first half, Hibs, because, and it came from Golson. He fired a pass back far too hard towards Butland, who was a yard from his goal line, and he actually took a decent touch, but then he got it caught under his feet. He must have taken 3 or 4 touches as it ran away from him, practically along the goal line. Meanwhile, the Hibs guy's racing in on him, sliding in, and just by luck, the guy got his foot to it as Butland dived, but to hit the post and went away to safety. So that should have been a goal. That was the nearest they came the whole night to actually scoring. So a mistake by Super Jack Butland in goal isn't something we've seen before, not of that magnitude. So that was a lucky escape. He only had one save the rest of the game, and that was from a 25-yard free kick, which he dived to his left and palmed away. It was a kind of bog standard save for a guy like him, but that was a save. It was the only shot they had on target, would you believe, for the home team in a cup quarter final. So he had a really quiet night, basically, apart from that scare, obviously, in the first half. So that was something I've never seen before. Another thing, I've never seen before. I'll get to when I'm talking about the second half. But to go back to the first half, we scored after a penalty. We got a penalty. Tavernier didn't take it well. It wasn't a good penalty. Big Marshall parried it. Thankfully, it bounced back out into the centre to the right hand side of the area. And John Lundstrom showed great determination, a bit of pace, a bit of foresight to time his run perfectly and get ahead of all the defenders and just bundle it into the net to put us 1-0 up. Before I leave that topic, the penalty, it was a big Obita behind Sterling in the box, all over the back of him, falling onto him, legs getting in a tangle. A penalty kick all day long. Oh, not according to the numpty co-commentator, a well-known friend and supporter, Michael Stewart. According to him, that was never a penalty. How he touched him, it was just a coming together. That's never a penalty. What a nonsense. Even that great supporter of Rangers, Neil Lennon, said at half-time it was a stonewall penalty. So I can't give you any more proof than that, but not according to Numpty Stewart. Never a penalty, he says. So anyhow, we're 1-0 up, in control of the game. As I say, we had that other chance and a few other ones in the first half, but basically we're happy enough to go in at 1-0, but it should have been maybe 3-0 minimum at half time. So anyhow, apart from Numpty annoying me with his every comment, it's well seen he works for Celtic TV. I bet he's sitting there with green and white hoops on as he co-commentates. He's the worst pundit out. He's even worse than Chris Mutton, and that's saying something. So anyhow, second half starts. This was Hibs' best spell. They had maybe a 5-6 minute spell where they put some pressure on us. Didn't create any chances. Put some corners in, headers. We had to head it, pass for another corner, that kind of thing. And ironically, after about 5-6 minutes of that, we ran up the other end and Tavernier had a great shot, the best thing he did the whole game, a shot from about 20 odd yards that Marshall had to dive to his left and palm away. So that was the end of their pressure, basically. And then in I think it was the 68th minute, Obita got second booking. The first one came when Lawrence was running up the middle with the ball away from him, and he just hacked him from behind, caught his legs from behind. Certain yellow cards, so that had happened earlier in the second half. Then when it comes to his second booking, Tavernier's on the ball, Matondo's 10 yards away, trying to run up the wing. Obita's beside him, or a bit in front of him actually, so he has a go first of all with his right arm to hold him back, and then he has a swing with his left and seemed to catch him on the face, and Matondo goes down, and here we've got the referee running over with the second yellow card, much to the annoyance of Numpty Stewart, because according to him that's a ludicrous decision, never a yellow card, barely touched him, the ball's not even there, all sorts of excuses, absolute nonsense. Everybody else later agrees that's a second yellow. What the guy's doing that is unbelievable. The other thing I must say, in between these two bookings that happened, was one of the other rare things in a Rangers game. Poor McCausland, he came on as a sub for Sterling, who had to go off after half an hour with a hamstring injury, and it's unusual for a sub to be subbed, but he got injured as well in about 60th minute, I think it was. So in between Obita's two bookings, when he was going off, he'd had treatment, he was limping off, the physio's helping him off, and here's this Hibs guy coming up behind him and kind of pushing him, trying to hurry them up, trying to make them go off quicker. I mean, the player is injured and he's limping off, and this guy's pushing them, trying to make them go quicker, and the referee just has a word. I mean, that should have been a booking and off. The referee, I think, had a word with the captain, Newsom, and obviously saying, look, get a grip of him, he's losing the plot, do something about him, and he didn't. And then when he committed that second foul, that's him off. So there shouldn't be any complaints about that, but of course there are from people like Michael Stewart, and no doubt all the Safecoites out there who avidly watch Rangers games, although they don't really think we exist. So now that was him off, and then even worse for Hibs, 3 minutes later, second sending off, the guy with the double-barrelled name, he just jumps in on Lundstrom near the dugouts, I think both feet were off the ground, jumps in from behind in the side of him. It looked as if he caught him in the ankle. Lundstrom goes over, looking really in pain. Probably wasn't, but I don't care. Make it look as if you're in pain. That's what everybody else does to us. And the ref immediately produces the red card. VAR checks it. Red card all day long. The only people annoyed about it, apart from the player, is the Hibs manager, who's going a bit tonto on the touchline, and numpty Stewart again. According to him, when he first saw the replay, he's thinking, I'm not sure that's a red card. Then he sees another one and another one, and then he's saying, that's never a red. So the only guy that didn't think it was a red card as well. I mean, Celtic TV are really getting their money's worth out of this guy, because he's working for them, even when he's doing these commentaries on Rangers games. Never a red card, he says. The guy's flying towards him at pace, out of control, reckless, endangering the opponent. Actually, Stewart says something like, yes, I'm sure it ticks all the boxes from VAR. Maybe they should just try looking at what they're seeing. Well, actually, that's how you tick the boxes, son. You look at what you're seeing and you go, yes, reckless, yes, out of control, and you tick the boxes and he's off. And yet this numpty insists it was never a red card. So hilarious, absolutely hilarious. He's the other thing. I don't think I've ever heard a co-commentator ever be so biased in a game as he was last night. It's just unbelievable. So anyhow, that was another thing. Oh, before I forget, the third thing I've never seen before, it came right from the kickoff. Hibs took kickoff. Drossers, about 10 yards away, runs in a beeline straight towards the big centre half. I think it's Rocky Bashiri. Runs at quite a bit of pace, runs right at him, bangs into him, falls down to the ground, holding his chest. Big Rocky, it had been as well been Rocky Balboa. He just sort of looks at him, walks away. Drossers are lying about, holding his chest, looking aggrieved at the referee. Why hasn't something been given? You're thinking, why is he doing that? Why did he run? The ball wasn't anywhere near him. Why is he running straight at the big centre half and just barging into him? And at the kick-off after our first goal, he did exactly the same thing. Hibs kick-off, he does exactly the same thing, makes a beeline for the big centre half, runs right at him, bounces off him, down the ground, holding his chest, looking aggrieved. What the hell is going on with this guy? Is his AI gone awry? Has the machinery that controls him from some remote control box gone a bit wonky? Because he didn't look like a human being. He's never looked like a striker in all the time he's been here. But that was just ludicrous. You had to laugh at him. What is he doing? So anyhow, there's the three things I said I'd never seen before. And that was the most ludicrous of them probably. So anyhow, the game's won. They're down to 9 men, although we are playing with 10. Oh no, we weren't, because Drossers had been subbed by that time, so we're back up to 11 men. So 10 minutes, less than that from the end, was it? When we scored the second goal to really knock them out. And it was a nice move. Tavernier passes it inside to Lundstrom. He looks up, lovely pass into the box. There's Silva, who takes a first touch, checks in properly to get away from the defender, and then just slots his shot inside the near post. 2-0, everybody's happy. Great game, into the semi-finals. So that was done and dusted. It was maybe a bit harder than it should have been. We were always in control apart from that 5-6 minute spell. We passed it about nicely. There were some sloppy passes, but we passed it about nicely. Lundstrom was definitely man of the match. He was everywhere. Even in the last few minutes, he was surging forward up the left wing practically. So he deserved his man of the match, not just for putting us on the way to victory with that rebound from the penalty, but just his general play, tackling, running forward, passing. He created the second goal. So well done to him. He was looking a bit dodgier last week and he looked tired after the Benfica game, but that was more like his old self. So long may that continue. And most of the others were competent enough, apart from Drossers, obviously. He'll never be competent if you take a game as a whole. He might bumble in the odd goal, but he'll never have a competent display, and he'll certainly never have a display where you go, wow, what a player he is. So I can't wait for summer and hopefully get rid of him and get a proper centre forward in. So great victory. Marred when you're watching it on TV slightly by the comments of Michael Stewart. The guy is an absolute disgrace. Rangers fans should be actually emailing the company, the TV company, to try and get him banned from commenting on Rangers games, because his bias is just so obvious. It's, to use his word, ludicrous. So anyhow, semi-final draw later on today, or after the Hearts game, I think it is. Rangers Celtic, Aberdeen, probably Hearts. I don't care who we get. It's at Hampden. As long as we don't pick up any more injuries, we should be fine. Get some players back. I think it's maybe 3-4 weeks away, the semi. So with a bit of luck, maybe even Seema could be back. Cantwell definitely should be back. So can't wait for the draw, and can't wait to go on to the next part of trying to secure a wonderful treble. Happy days.